Welcome back to the vlog. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here. I am here at the farm today. It is a nice, calm, chill Sunday. I have a lot of stress in my mind and my body that's just been like kind of stagnant here, and I'm trying to process it. And one of the big ways of how I process stress is by getting out in nature. So I wanted to bring you behind the scenes. We have the kittens. I'm gonna go see the horses. I have some goodies for them. Go see the cows. I'm gonna load up some stuff into my truck that's in the field, all my riding stuff and everything, and bring you along for the ride, and then also kind of just share how I process stress, how I love myself through it, how I think through it, my mindset and everything in it, because stress is an inevitable part of life. It's an inevitable part of evolution, particularly if you're always trying to improve yourself, improve your life, improve your world, improve your business. And it's so important to learn how to be healthy about stress and to handle it properly and to process it so that it's not constantly staying with you, particularly in your body, which I think can be really toxic. Getting it from your mind, your body out into the world so that you can get yourself back to the feelings that you want to be in life. So that's my goal for today. I'm excited to bring you along for the ride. This one has just been the love of my life. So cute. And the one that loves me the most, although obviously not that much. I know you want your mama. Can we hang out? Take a little visit to the horses and the cows, go see them. They're already coming to see us. Oh, I'm so excited. Hi, babies. I would share a little bit more about my philosophy and mindset with respect to stress. I feel like stress is inevitable. It's an inevitable part of life. It's an inevitable part of business, especially an inevitable part of entrepreneurship. It's like human instinct. It's animal instinct, right? It is wired into us to respond to stress, to be triggered by stress and everything. So my philosophy, my mindset on stress is that it's an inevitable part of the process. It's actually showing me that I am growing to a different phase in my life, because if things were comfortable, it wouldn't necessarily be as stressful, right? And a lot of stress is created by growth and something new that we're doing in our business, in our lives, a new phase of life. And sometimes, as much as we would like to just be okay with the new phase of life, sometimes it's not as easy to adapt to it and accept it. Hi, you want to get in on this conversation? So my philosophy is, if it's an everyday part of life, if it's inevitable, then why not find a good way to process it, right? This may not be the best spot anymore with two horses. So, Chief, am I right? If stress is an inevitable part of life, why not find a good way to process it? And I don't think it's something they teach you in school. I think it's one of the best skills that you can have as an entrepreneur, that you can have in life in general. Ultimately, our ability to move through stress and process stress and then get back to the feelings that we want in life are going to be determinant of whether we're living in a day that is awful and sucks, or a day that's like good and that we can acknowledge is good. Because the tough thing about stress and negative things in our life anyways is that anything negative that happens in our lives, our brains are programmed to remember for survival instincts, just like all these guys. So when we take that in consideration and we remember that like every single negative feeling that we feel is going to be more intense feeling and longer feeling than the positive emotions that we feel, it gives us a bit of perspective. And then I have some things that I really like to do to process stress throughout my life, so that it's not staying in my mind and my body and it's moving out so that I can live my life, so that I can enjoy days like these. I will say, being at the farm, being with the horses gives me perspective. Being outside gives me perspective. Like there was just this cute little group of ducks over here that waddled on by and were just like, how can you feel stress when you see like the beauty of life, when you see the abundance of life? So getting out in nature is one of my biggest tips for processing stress. Being around animals is also another. So animals are emotional support. Fully. And there's a reason why there are emotional support animals, because just being around them calms you down. Their energy particularly calms you down. It's grounding. And so that brings me to number 3. Let me get my boots off real quick. Is grounding. So grounding is the electric magnetic currents moving through the ground that are charged and have negative ions and ground us, literally. So like when I stand in the ground, I'm actually receiving electromagnetic waves from the earth that's grounding me. So we as humans, right, have electricity running through us, have electromagnetic waves and frequencies running through us, because that's like a part of every single being in the world, right? And so just like the telephone wires connect to the ground to ground them so that it doesn't have a fire and everything like that, we as humans can connect to the ground literally by walking in it. And that actually grounds us mentally and physically. It actually changes our bodies. So it reduces inflammation, which is something caused by stress in most cases. So one of the things that I love to do is just be out in nature, be around my animals, and be grounded by the ground. Literally, it blows my mind. I'm going to actually link the whole documentary about this. I'm sure that I'm messing some of the scientific principles of it up, but that's the basis of it. Oh, my babies are leaving me. If my babies are going to leave me, I might as well take a seat and get comfy. So this morning I also journaled. Journaling is an amazing way to get your thoughts out of your mind. And one thing that I did was I journaled about how I was feeling and how I wanted to feel, and just processed all of those emotions. I have another visitor. Hi. This is comical. I journaled this morning about how I was feeling, and I also wrote down everything that was on my mind, like all of my stressors from work and everything. I wrote down and got it out all on paper, because at least taking it out of my mind, and it releases it out into the world, and in some way really releases stress. This morning I also meditated. Meditation has a really incredible impact on our ability to cope through and move through stress, because it gives us power over our thoughts. It gives us power over our body, right? And if you don't process stress, all of these pieces of stress, the disease associated with stress, it all is going to stay in your body. Big bull behind me. I have flies on me. Candy's coming back to visit me. Hey, girl. So I get out in nature. I hang out around the animals, literally. I ground physically on the ground. I journal. I meditate. And then overall, running really helps me. Running is one of the best things that I do for myself. It gives me time to like just think and process emotions. So after this, hopefully it doesn't rain, I am heading to James's farm. I'm at my farm now. Candy just almost knocked me over. I feel like I have a class. I feel like I have a classroom of students here. Stress becomes disease in our bodies. And so if you don't deal with stress emotionally, it's going to impact you physically and mentally. Of course, anxiety, depression, stress stores in our bodies and causes disease. It actually caused debilitating disease in my body when I first became a lawyer. I was having panic attacks. My anxiety was through the roof. I didn't have the same tools that I have now to cope with stress. And that's why I want to share them. And so the result of that stress not being properly processed and dealt with was that I was having panic attacks. I had inflammation in my body, and I had inflammation in my eyeballs, like literally my eye socket that connects back there. And my eye doctor was so worried. Typically, that's a sign of debilitating autoimmune diseases. So I was tested for over 30 autoimmune diseases, and I was found negative for all of them. But I was fainting in the middle of conversations, just dropping down cold. I was rushed to the emergency room multiple times. And obviously not anything you want to deal with. It was all due to stress. Sleep is another way that I cope with stress. So sleep, whenever I'm having a bad day and I'm done with the day, I just go to sleep, because sleep actually allows you to process stress, and it repairs your body and the effects of stress on your body as you sleep. So like the primary function of sleep is actually to protect your body, to rebuild your body, and to really rejuvenate it and restore it to its natural condition. Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker is one of my favorite books on sleep. And then there's also books by Ariana Huffington that she has as well. I'll link all of those in the description box, because those are some of my favorite books on sleep. So sleep is a great way to process stress. I also really love salt showers and salt baths. They are phenomenal, again, grounding. And then also they just, for me, give myself time to like just relax, let go of everything, kind of just let all of my mind calm down and let it all dissipate in the hot shower and everything. And then therapy. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I go to therapy every other week at least. I love regular talk therapy, hypnotherapy. Both of those are absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love my hypnotherapist, Maggie. She's amazing. I also love Dr. Lauren, and I also love Gay Hendricks. So therapy is such a crucial part of living. I feel like everybody needs to go to therapy, and I used to be so scared of going to therapy, but it's been such a helpful way for me to process stress and to also like release it out into the world, release it through writing, release it like by letting go of the thoughts in nature, by getting perspective, releasing it by talking about it with others. Obviously, my support system is a huge part of the way that I cope with stress, my support system being all of my animals and then all of my humans as well. So those are a few of the ways I cope with stress. It's really all individual, right? Like you have to find out what's the best way for you to cope with stress and experiment with it. I love hobbies. I love art. You know, everything like that helps me cope with stress, but find out what it is that helps you cope with stress, and then really start to pay attention to where your mind is. And as soon as you find your mind in a loop that's unhelpful, catch it and be like, okay, I'm going to devote the next 10 minutes to being present in my body, loving myself through what I'm going through, not judging myself through what I'm going through, and I'm going to work through it. I'm going to get it out into the world and process this. And then you find the days that turned out not so fun, like today, turn out a whole lot better, because how couldn't they? With all my babies, all my fur babies. Hi. So anyways, I just wanted to share those tips with you. If you have any tips on coping with stress and how you recommend coping with stress, what works for you, share it in the comment box. I would love to know. I think we can all help one another out. And honestly, just normalizing that stress is a natural part of life, that isn't like something that we have to spiral. Like sometimes when we're upset, then we're upset that we're upset, right? So acknowledging that it's a normal part of life, it's a normal part of the growth process, and creating systems and environments where we can deal with stress in a really happy, healthy way and continue on our merry way to growing and achieving what we want in life. So if you have any solutions, I would love to hear them. If this was helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. And I'm going to take you on the rest of my journey for today, going to do a couple more things, but I wanted to share that all with you because it was on my mind. And honestly, it's made me feel a lot better, a lot more grounded, just sharing that with you. So we'll go on to the rest of the day. I want to see if I can find you guys the little ducks that I found because they're so cute. Literally so cute. I just saw them like waddle away. I didn't find the ducks. I have no idea where they went. I guess they left without me, waddled away without me. But I'm going to load everything up in my truck. I have actually one more tip for you guys that I just thought of. It's so important, but let me get out there because I need to get this stuff done before it rains, go see James for dinner and everything. So I'll be right back. My last tip is that when you need to move your mind, when you've got something going on, move your body. So when you want to change your mind, when you want to work with what's going on in your mind, or you just feel this discord between how fast your mind is moving and your body, like every time that I'm super stressed and super worried, I feel like I need to be moving my body so that it can process all in one. Otherwise, it feels like you're driving your truck in the wrong gear or something like that. Like it feels like my body and mind are just grinding against each other when one's moving really fast, but the other one's disconnected and not. So I always really like to move my body a bit, walking around the farm, going riding, going for a hike, or in this case, moving all of my riding equipment. Whatever it is for you, start to move your body and you'll find that it's so much easier to process what's going on in your mind. Like I said, I love running, love hiking, and those really give me an opportunity to just process what's going on. And my body and mind feel so much better and they feel so much better connected when I'm moving both. The worst feeling for me is when I'm stressed out, I'm worried, I haven't worked out in weeks, and I haven't gone for a hike or something. It just feels like so much stagnant, stressful, intense energy in my body. And so when I move my body, it just is it's a natural part of movement. There's so much studies about this, about how moving your body is so important for endorphins, stress levels, but I think literally physically for releasing stress. And there's been studies on that as well. There's so many fun new movements and new modalities of healing that involve incorporating your body in healing through trauma and healing through stress and everything like that. So unloading this last bit, getting it all organized so the field is nice and clean, going to dinner with James, and then having a beautiful rest of the day. So let me get these unloaded. And yeah, I think that's going to be all I have for you today.